Getting swept is bad. Getting swept at home is worse. Being embarrassed at home, that changes how we talk about the San Francisco Giants. Because this wasn't just losing games, this felt like a reality check. Armando, walk me through what we just watched, because that series versus the New York Yankees felt ugly from the start to finish.
Yeah, well, the Tony V era did not start well. I and that's just the start in a new era. Um, but this is the worst start in Giants history. Giants' rich history. They have never been swept to open the season, and since stats started being kept in 1901, this is the first time ever that the Giants been swept to open the season. This is the first time that they've been shut out to back, and since 1901, this is the first hits and runs any Giants team has allowed since 1901. Like, that is a reality check, like you said. That is panic mode to start the season because this is the same story that we've been hearing from the last since the Giants owners decided to go away from um, Bochy, and they say like we're gonna go with technology, the new age with Kepler. That was a disaster. Then they decided to go with the old school approach and fell under Bob Melvin. Under Bob Melvin, they say like he was let go because the team the, had no life. And on paper, they shouldn't have been a playoff team, and they collapsed in the last month of the season. And once again, they brought in a college coach with the raw spirit and feelings on his sleeves, and you see that emotions. And ultimately, they were flat to start the season under this new regime. I mean, of the new managing, and it's not Tony V's fault. This is the owners. This is Buster Posey saying, "Give we're giving this lineup to you. Uh, you are the guy that we want. We want them to be alive and encouraged and play with uh, with joy." And it's the same story again. No life, no energy in the ball club, and they just look awful. And all this, once again, under Kepler, like 5 seasons ago, they were stealing bases in spring training. It was like, oh, the Giants are going to a new approach. They're going to be more aggressive. And the same thing with Tony V. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to run more, score more, and flat. We talked about spring break doesn't matter. Spring training doesn't matter because they have the best record in the Cactus League. It did not matter because they were awful. And Giants fans, to start the season, Giants fans are pissed off right now. And why? Because this is the same story since 2017. This team, this organization just are just dealing with mediocrity. And when you're a team that is just around the 500 mark year after year, you don't get better. You don't get better. You don't get worse. You just are stuck in that 500 record. I'll say another franchise that has been dealing with the same thing, but they have the rich history. And it's the St. Louis Cardinals. Those Giants and Cardinals have not been the same since their last World Series because they're just around the 500 mark, 2 games over, 2 games under. That's the worst place to be in baseball because at least the rich teams, they attract the top free agents. The bottom teams just keep getting prospects and high draft picks, and you see the flashes for trade potentials or what the team could be. But when you're a 500 team, you just are stuck there. You're stuck in the walls. You're stuck in the mud, and they're saying once again, they're saying trust the process, trust in Buster Posey. But Giants fans are fed up, and it's only been 3 games into the season. Omar, tell me, should Giants fans be overreacting to start the season? Tell me, tell me, because if this happened, a three game losing streak in August, it would not matter. Scoring run in a 3 game series wouldn't matter, right? But tell me, are Giants overreacting, or they should be concerned right now?
I'm on the optimistic side. You know
Yeah.
you know me. I've seen a post in X that in 2012 the Giants started 0-3 and the end result was World Series, right? That's that's how optimistic I am. But I'm gonna read you the stat from that weekend series, and props to the New York Yankees starting pitchers, right? Are we not accounting that, or are we just blaming the Giants lineup on their inability to score? Because Giants, like you said, from that weekend series, one run, back 43 batting average, back 176 slug. And Willie Adames, who's hitting like in the middle of the lineup, he's like 1 for 11. It's one hit in 11 at bats with 5 strikeouts, and Matt Chapman wasn't even better. He had like one hit in 9 at bats. So I'm still optimistic, but it's worrisome to see your middle of the lineup not produce or be this ugly stat, right? If like you said, if you score like multiple runs, like 2 3 runs, like each and every game and still lost, that's fine. But you said start the season back to back shutout and then score one run in the in the third
The third
game,
game.
and the fans, like we talked about this during the spring training, right? Your San Francisco fans won't have they'll have a short leash on your manager Tony
Yeah,
V if this
exactly.
unravels right quick, right? So, but if you ask me, I'm still optimistic. It's just 3 games, but I know how the Bay Area is. So,
No, we're not
you're
happy.
you're
Like, we're not Giants fans. Like, they're just playing with my emotions, man. Like, they're just like they get me every year, thinking like, or maybe we're just spoiled after the 3 World Series, but that is 12 years ago. That standard gets lower and lower. Right now we're just at mediocrity. Right now we're at 500 record. That's what the Giants are. Like, a lot of people were understood that letting go of Bob Marvin. He just kind of like there was no energy in the ballpark. But you brought in a college coach with no experience, saying like he's going to be the spirit that lifts this team up. And there's a lot of young players, and he's gonna get the best of them. But first 3 games, and it's the same story. Again, it's a little hard. There's going to be growing pains with a rookie manager. But Robbie Ray said after the third loss, he was like, "Hey, we all know how to be professionals here." And so like that was a dig of Tony, like just at the new manager's decisions already, right? So it's kind of like I don't think there's going to be growing pains, but I think the fans are just a little tired at the same story. So we need leaders to step up. We need the Rafael Devers to be the player that the Giants traded for and picked up the big salary contract. We need we need Adamas to step up to live up to that massive contract as well, and we need Chapman. He's not his prime. We understand that, but we need him to be a piece in that lineup, to be the leader that he's been saying, like he's been appointed a captain and a leader in the clubhouse. Well, we need those three to step up and say like we can carry a team, because on paper or in expectations is making the playoffs. They felt they should have made the playoffs last year. But when the center gets lower, lower, we're it gets tougher because the Dodgers within our divisions just are winning, and that does not sit well when you're ultimately your biggest rival is within the division, the same conference, and you see that and say like, man, we are just getting worse. And there's no reasons, Omar. There's no reasons that the Giants should be in this position. Why? Because they have the fourth most generated generated profits in the major leagues, and they have the 14 or 13 uh, payroll. It doesn't line up. We're like, so you're making profit. Put some talent in on the field and stop and and start competing against the Dodgers on the field and off the field and in contracts, because right now the Giants are just not they're losing in every category at this point.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this when I was in X doing like just reading about the
Yeah.
Giants, and I mentioned that Matt Chapman is a great defender,
Oh yeah, he's
like a
great.
platinum defender. He's a great person. He's a good leader, but I mentioned that Matt Chapman is not a middle of the lineup bat. He can have like 20 to 25 home runs a season, but he's not that one bat that you fear. Like, okay, a pitcher would fear him facing when the game is like close, right? So if the Giants can find someone who can actually like a big bopper right in the middle of that lineup, it'll be good. I think Devers is fine with the two hole there. I'm not sure about Arias on the lead off hitter. I've seen him bounce around right now in the lineup within the 3 games, right? So we'll see how it goes. It's still early, but I mentioned that Matt Chapman for
Mhm.
myself, Matt Chapman is not your middle of the lineup bat. You need another one in there that can actually rake the baseball, right?
The season is it's a starts hard for the Giants, and they need a wake up call, or this is just going to be. We already know Tony B does not like the media, and he's too honest, a little too good for a little too honest for his own good. But if they keep losing, it's going to be more questions, and there's going to be more
But
pressure.
you talked about the schedule and it's brutal right now, right? New York
Yeah,
Yankees, then you get the Padres, then you get the Mets, and after that you get the Phillies, right? How
yeah. First
graceful, how
month,
graceful, how graceful would your fans be if you come out on the bad side on this one?
I'll be.
Not graceful, eh?
I think, yeah, like how awful would it be if they start the month of April at a 500 record, right? So it's just what Giants fans are crying about already. That this is another 500 record team, right?
Yeah,
So
you're not gonna get by in the National League West with 500 team, especially with the if the Dodgers like you said, if they keep winning and you can't keep up with the Dodgers. You want to be just stay in there like in the striking distance, right? But if they pull
yeah,
away, then
exactly,
you're
right.
battling for
If you
wild card
start
now, right?
losing, um, if you start losing games early, uh, it's going to be a hard season, right? So because you're going to be playing catch up, so you need to start racking up some wins. And it's already we're already score watching, right? And there's only been 3 games in the season, but it's been historically bad for the Giants. The Giants have not started a season this awful. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's not
again,
it's not your
but
starting pitchers, right? But
no,
it's the lineup that's holding you back right now. And
what's
like you said,
we need?
Buster Posey already addressed it with Devers, but something's missing for some reason. I can. I can't pinpoint it right now, but still there's something missing in that lineup. But hopefully Buster Posey can figure
Yeah,
this thing out. But how bad of a reputation, like the what that reputation, the legacy of Buster Posey if Tony
yeah, right.
V's
So
hiring
he's beloved,
doesn't
right?
work out, right?
He's beloved. So and Buster we trust, right? So that's what we're holding on to. So he knows that what the Giants mean to the Bay Area, to the Giants fans. They know how much we care about this team in the city. So they need to we need to see some improvements quick. Where it's going to be Giants fans. They're not patient. They'll stop. They will start not going to the game. They will stop going to the games. That's how they protest. You'll see those games, that stadium, that beautiful stadium, empty. That's how they show their frustrations with the owners. So, and they don't like that. So, things get on the phone. Buster needs
Yeah.
to get on the phone and trade up for Screwball because if he ends up in Dodger blue, oh, there's gonna be hell to pay.
I would get on the phone and get Polskis right now. trade, trade
So,
everything.
well,
Trade
like,
everything
Screwball's
there.
Screwball's he's on his second year, last year of his contract, so he's yeah,
Man,
we don't want to have a conversation
if,
that what should uh, the Tigers do with Screwball, right? So
if Scuba goes to the Dodgers, like just close down MLB right now.
yeah, and I hear your optimism. Actually, the last time the Giants score a one run in a three game series was in 2010 to the back then Oakland A's, and they won the World Series in 2010. So maybe that's a little, maybe hey, but
Hey,
that's
we'll
just
just go.
daydreaming at this point because that 2010, 12, and 14, they're just they're historic years, right? So anytime you want to do a stat on those years, like, hey, that was a good year for us. But at this point, that's just a far distant memory at this point.
Yeah, we're coping right now. We're
Yeah.
coping right but yeah, I'm still I'm Mr. Optimism for you here. I don't want to
It's gonna be
bring
a
down everyone.
yeah. Let's not. I don't want to be moping or for this season already. It's early in the season.
Yeah, but on a serious note, it is worrisome. It is worrisome. We're not laughing at what's going on with the lineup right now, right? If they can get going in the next few games, then it's panic time, right?
Yeah,
So hopefully, like I'm still optimistic, but hopefully the lineup can get it going so that we don't want empty stadiums. We don't want the fans not watching the game because they don't want the product that's on the field, right? That's the worst thing
correct,
that can happen to a team, right?
correct. So let's rub some good mojo for
Yeah.
for Ramos and Willie Adames to step it up, right? So one last thing on the Giants, Luis Matos and Larry Fitzgerald has been DFA for yeah, they're just being DFA. So it's uh it's a little hard. They invest those well, poor those were two top prospects for the Giants, and it just didn't work out.
Just thing with Luis Matos, since you just mentioned that
Mhm.
he Luis Matos actually got traded. Hey,
Yeah, he got picked up
Luis
by
Brewers. Yeah. So
the Brewers, and
um
there's yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, we were talking about Luis Manos during our spring training edition here and around the bases, and we were hoping that Luis Manos can stick around in the Bay Area, but things is not working out. Like we mentioned this, like right now, it's not working out. The lineup's not working out, so there's gonna be changes if things doesn't really go too well for the Giants, and we've seen this already
Once again, it's
within the
like
three
it's
days.
patience,
With yeah,
patience, right? But we're just gonna Giants has there's a panic button. Like it's like we're tired of Giants fans are tired about being told be patient. Like it hasn't worked out, and our development department for the Giants have has not worked out. There's been a lot of strikes and misses with developing young homegrown talent, and it's something that there should be concerns about the who is leading the development side of things. It hasn't worked out.
yeah, and we talked about this. There's a standard in San Francisco, and it's winning World Series. It's not being patient and developing. Like development, player development is great, but winning is the standard there in San Francisco. And if you start losing games and not going to the postseason, and that's a big problem in San Francisco. Everyone knows that. So hopefully, Buster Posey and the lineup and Tony V can figure things out right immediately, because
Mhm.
if things doesn't go well, there's big changes that would be coming for sure in San Francisco here.
Yep. Like I said, like this is the Buster Poster and the ownership saying this is we believe in this lineup, and they're giving it to Tony B. And at this point, they're asking a lot out of him in his first year.
Yeah, that's a tall ask. That's a tall
Yeah.
ask, but yeah. So, but we'll still wait and see, and hopefully the next few games can get it going. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm still optimistic with the Giants, but it wasn't a good weekend opening series for the San Francisco Giants, losing three games. Well, getting swept by the Yankees and scoring only one run. Let us know what you think about the Giants' first three games. If you like this podcast and you are watching in YouTube, push the like button, share and subscribe. And if you are watching on, if you're listening on Spotify, download this podcast and follow us here in Around the Bases. Thank you so much for being with us on this week's episode. We will see you next week on Around the
Jays
Bases.
and Giants updates around the bases. Box scores, big moments running through the paces. Giants orange burn and Jays blue proud from the coast to the